hope everybody's having a good week. And we are really excited to get this in front of you today. Now, for anybody who's not able to make it for the entirety, if you have another commitment, you have to hop off, no worries there. We're going to record this and we'll share out the recording as well as the deck. So feel free to tend to your needs as they come up.
Perfect. As we're kind of getting people to drop right in, I can lead things off. One of the main pieces we want to make sure we're being very considerate of is your time, especially with all the added responsibilities. With a lot of time on the computer, I have no doubt, and just joining an extra webinar at the end of a long day, we appreciate everybody's time. So I think we have some attendees in place so we can jump right in, do some introductions, which give people a little bit more time to join into the Zoom, to learn a little bit more about esports. And as Mondoux mentioned, it is being recorded. And we'll make sure we get everybody a copy here after this ends. So my name is Matt Alley. If you have not had a chance to meet yet, I'm Director of Student Services for MASSP, and I am one of the project leads to help move along the Michigan High School Esports League across the state of Michigan. And we're very excited to welcome in a new group of hopefully potential coaches or people learning about how they can bring esports and give this opportunity to a lot of different students from a lot of different backgrounds across your entire school environment. Because what we found in our very, very young time during this adventure is that this is an opportunity that not only kids want to be a part of, but it has so many culture benefits for your entire building, which we're going to dive into. But I do want to get into introductions. I won't take up a lot of time here. We have quite a few members of the PlayVS team joining us today. So let's lead off with Chris Mondoux. So Mondoux is the Michigan Marketing Manager, one of our very, very close contacts that we have weekly meetings with. He is one of going to be your primary contact to help get this up and running. Mondoux, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here, and thanks for having me. Definitely looking forward to walking through this. And before we just get into the actual content, I'd like to kind of take the chance to introduce my team. So over to my left on my screen, not sure if it's yours, but I have Lane Portman from our Central Operations team.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm on Central Operations, like Chris said. I'm really excited for you guys to learn more about esports.
Thanks, Lane. We have Billy on our Central Operations team as well. Billy, I think you're muted.
Apologies there. Yeah, hi all. My name is Billy. I'm just going to help out on the support side and provide some context as to how we support you once you're actually participating.
Thanks, Billy. And then we have Aaron on my team as well, our Director of Regional Operations.
That's me. I work with Chris and our other market managers throughout the East Coast and kind of North Central on the growth side. So we're working with new schools, getting them enrolled. And so thanks for letting us all be a part here today. We're really excited to continue the growth with Michigan. And with that, I'll kick it back to you, Chris.
Let's get going. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen out, and we can hit the content here. So everybody can hopefully see my screen. If you can't, please put it in the chat. If I can get a thumbs up from somebody on our side, maybe Billy or Aaron, thank you so much. All right, so I'm jumping right into our agenda today. We're going to look over a number of aspects of esports and PlayVS and our partnership here with MASSP. Going to kind of go through a short introduction since we kind of already covered that, but we're going to really dive into answering the big question that might be on the fore of your mind, which is what are esports? We're going to go through PlayVS overview, talk about our spring season. We're going to have a little side over to Billy, who's going to talk about the operations side of things and how we support our schools and how we support our coaches, as well as our players. And then we're going to talk about the league formats, scholarship opportunities, and then we're going to talk about spring enrollment. We're going to do this in about 25 minutes. So here we go. So first things first, again, we've kind of already met our presenters. Myself, a market manager on the regional operations team, supported by Aaron, and then Lane and Billy supporting from central operations. So a quick background on myself. I joined PlayVS in June. I have come over from Airbnb, where I was working as a strategy manager, and was really fortunate to work with some fantastic colleagues and hotels around the country on the hotel side of things. But my background has been in startups for the last 5 years, in Silicon Valley and in New York City, where I'm currently based. My connection to esports is really pretty straightforward. In college, I used to work the night shift. So I would get out of class and I would work at the grocery store until midnight or 1 a.m., come home, and Korea would be waking up. So they'd be streaming these matches of StarCraft. I was a big StarCraft 2 player, still am. But my kind of connection to esports was watching these live streams. And this is 2012, 2013. So definitely at the very beginnings of kind of what we know today as esports. A fun fact about me, just a quick little icebreaker. In 2009, I got the idea to ride across the US on Amtrak. And so I went from here in New York to California. And to answer the question I always get, it took 10 days, but it was fantastic. So let's just jump right into what are esports. So just even before I start to unpack this, I want to do like a quick word association. If we think about sports, we think about athletics. What I really kind of think of is teamwork. I think about leadership. I think about friendly competition. And I really think about an opportunity for kids to be involved in their classroom, classmates' lives outside of the classroom. So to kind of segment out how those kind of qualities can translate to esports, video games are oftentimes recreational, usually played for personal enjoyment, and are usually focused on an individual achievement. Now, esports, on the other hand, are competitive. They're structured. There's leagues, and we'll talk about our leagues later in this webinar. And they're based on more often than not, a team format. So really, the kind of early side of what I talked about in terms of the connection between athletics, between sports, we really see that with esports. So if anybody asks you what's the difference between video games and esports, that should hopefully be a quick kind of way to answer that question. Now, in terms of what this offers students, really it's life skills, right? We talked about the teamwork aspect. There's conceptual thinking in terms of how a team gets to goal. What kind of barriers are in front of them? There's going to be known knowns. There's going to be unknown unknowns. There's going to be all kinds of ways that teams can find ways to get to their goal and get the W. It's going to teach them resiliency, because I think we all know it's at the very best, let's say, optimistic to think that you're going to win 100% of the time. You have to be a good winner. You have to be a good loser as well. And esports can teach that. And then there's really sportsmanship. We all know, I think, that the internet has created myriad opportunities for expression, for connection. But there's another side that we want to avoid. We want to avoid kids using foul language. We want to avoid kids name calling or using shame or other kind of online harassment or bullying. We want to teach sportsmanship. And that comes with good winners and with good losers. So we have a quote here from Rebecca at Weston High School in Connecticut. And she says, "Esports has given me a chance to come out of my shell and make friends through one of my favorite pastimes. It has brought me confidence in my abilities that I hope will continue to grow." So really powerful stuff. So let's talk about our company overview, PlayVS. So I created this slide to kind of highlight how what we do informs our values and how our values inform what we do. So one of our first values is teamwork. We engage with schools to help discover esports. Player experience first. We support our players and coaches during and after our matches. All in, we grow our title offerings by working directly with our publishers to give the best experience to our players and to really make sure that everything goes off without a hitch. And then impossible is our favorite kind of possible. We create a structured, regulated esports activities and competitions for students across the US. Obviously, this is not impossible. It's our favorite kind of possible, but it is daunting to think about getting every high school in the country on esports. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing. So what we offer is really from the start to finish, the support, right? Players compete, fans spectate, coaches manage. We really in this year, I think, have seen how what we offer can hopefully create value for students who may not have the same opportunities that they had even 12 months ago. Online competition is not only COVID safe, we actually support remote play due to COVID. And that's something that we hope we can offer to kids who might not have the activities that they're used to. On our regional leagues, we offer multiple teams per esport. We want everybody to be able to play. We're going to talk a little bit more about leagues in a minute and what the difference is really between the regional leagues and the state leagues. But this is important to highlight. It's co-ed. This is the first co-ed sport that's been kind of implemented into the high school environment. And then coaching. The coaching is key for us. It's a requirement. We want coaches to be the adult in the room and to help lead teams and to help inspire students to lead other students. And we make esports easy. So I'm not going to read through every slide, every note on this slide, but really the idea here is once you've enrolled, that's not the end, that's the beginning. You can focus on your students and we take care of everything else. We offer the support on match day. We manage your bracket. We manage your scheduling. If something comes up and you need to potentially forfeit or reschedule a match, we offer that kind of support. We provide the data around your statistics and where you stand, tracking player progress with a player identity that they can bring even out of high school and into college, into the competitive scene. So really a lot to unpack here, but I want to just kind of keep it high level today. And I'm happy to go through more of this stuff one-on-one after the call. So one of the biggest and most important aspects of getting esports into every school in the US is our partnership with the NFHS. So the NFHS, as I'm sure many of you know, has been sanctioning high school competition for over 100 years. We are the only officially sanctioned esports league at the high school level. So that's really important to us. Our partnership with the NFHS means that we not only have their blessing, but we go into each state and we have a partnership in each state because we know each state's different. Each state has unique needs. They have unique students, and we want to make sure that we're not just applying a one-size-fits-all to esports. And that's where MASSP comes in. So our partnership kicked off just before the fall season. Matt and Maggie have been really tremendous partners for us. And we're thrilled to work together to bring a new activity to your students and to your schools and to keep students engaged inside and outside the classroom. So our official mascot here is a lion, as you can see, and the Champion Series, the Michigan High School Esports League. This is what we're talking about today. I'm going to touch on publisher integration quickly. The long and short of it is that we work directly with our publishers. So Riot and Epic and all the major game publishers that you see in the industry, we work with them from the top down to provide bottoms up solutions to player experience. So integrating our stats into the game, collecting data around rankings, collecting student performance metrics is really how we kind of build the network effect of how players experience PlayVS and what it means for them to be on a team. So I'm going to talk through our spring titles and season. So key dates, our season is going to start on the 1st of March, which sounds like it's a long way away, but it's not. It's long and short. So our preseason is going to start the day after Valentine's Day on the 15th. It's a 2-week preseason. It is technically optional. It is very important. It's important for 2 reasons. It's important for us to make sure that we have all of the teams in place on our side, and it's important for the players to have practice, to know where they stand in terms of getting familiar with how the games work. Many of our players are new players. Many of our players are existing esports players, but many of them are also new. So giving them a chance to come in and do some unranked competition is going to help tremendously. It also allows us to match player and team abilities so that everybody has a fair shot, right? Like nobody wants to go 0-10. So we want to make sure that we're not pairing up, a really strong team that's played in 5 seasons with us against a new team, because that just wouldn't be fair. Our deadline to register for spring is the 26th of February. And February is a short month, so we kick right into the season. And then we're going to have our postseason with Michigan. So this is the really exciting side of it for our state league that's going to bring in 2 extra weeks of competition and the chance to compete for a state title. And we're going to talk more about that later on. So in terms of titles, League of Legends, really like the nascent, I mentioned StarCraft earlier, League of Legends, probably even more so than any other esport is the esport that created this genre worldwide, huge in every region in the US, huge worldwide. It's part of our Ignite package. Rocket League, vehicular soccer with flying cars. I mean, what more can I say? Like, that sounds awesome. And then Smite, we offer kind of a 5-player team-based combat for like kind of touching on themes of mythology, kind of touching on themes of more fantasy. But that's not all. We have new titles this year. So we have Madden 21 and we have FIFA 21 coming in. These are going to be, as opposed to the prior slide, played on PlayStation 4. So the titles that I mentioned earlier will be PC titles. These will be PlayStation 4 titles. But we're really excited to add these titles. I think you could probably tell even from the previous slide, a little bit more fantasy, fanciful type of character design. This is going to go right into anybody really who's interested in sports, which in my experience is most people. So really exciting to have these titles. To talk about the schedule, games are going to be played Tuesday through Thursday at 4 p.m. local, so 4 p.m. Eastern for you. Mondays will be open for community events, scrimmages, tactics, get the team together in a Zoom room, virtually for now, hopefully not for much longer, and really kind of use the time to plan out how you're going to get to the next level on that bracket. You'll notice here that there's this funny shaped dice. There is a potential sixth title coming in for the spring. So the best I can say on that is really just to keep an eye out on your email inbox, because we will be providing more information potentially if that comes to fruition. So definitely keep aware is the best I can say on that. And then we don't schedule anything on Fridays, because Fridays, I mean, Fridays are tough, I think, for everybody to commit to anything at 5 o'clock on a Friday or 4 o'clock on a Friday, in my experience. So totally want to give you and your students back that time. So gonna go ahead and talk about support. So
Mondoux, I can come
Billy,
in.
you want to hop onto this one and take it from here?
Happy to. They appreciate that. So first and foremost, Maggie, Matt, thank you so much for having us. Chris, awesome job just exemplifying all the great things that esports has to offer to our new schools. They are lucky to have you as their rep. I've been working with you for the last 6 months and you've been great. I just want to really quickly touch on what happens once you've committed to the season and how you've gone forward, deciding esports is right for you. And I see a question just came in, but we'll get to that at some point. So on the left, you can see kind of league operations. Holistically speaking, these two things make up what we, how we support you. On the left, you're going to see league operations. This is support at playversus.com. That's how you're going to reach out, get your basic support needs, anything that isn't time sensitive, and generally on the more simplistic side. If you're at all confused about which, league operations or account manager you should be reaching out to, just go ahead and reach out to the account manager that will be given to your school when you sign up. League operations is going to be head of that basic support, as I mentioned, also in terms of scheduling your matches, in settling any of the matches, and much more in terms of getting playoffs scheduled, getting quarantines settled, all of the above. The account manager is going to be assigned to each school, and this is something new that we've done in this fall season. It's an evolution of our support system. As we continue to grow, we want to make sure that the support grows with it. And so this is your personalized point of contact, someone who really is going to be there to help you build and optimize your program. Just as we see new schools coming on, as we see new games coming on, as we see more players wanting to play, we want to make sure that you're able to utilize all of the things that PlayVS has to offer best you can. And so that's really what your account manager is there for. We'll be running webinars as well, sending you weekly recap emails and helping you build teams as well as much more. So hopefully we can support you there, and hopefully that this overall support is able to get you into this situation that you want to be in as it relates to your teams, as it relates to your school and esports.
Thanks, Billy. Really, really great to have you supporting us on the central side. So thanks for that overview.
Of course.
Apologies if I gave away the league format slide for about 3 seconds. We're going to jump right into it right now. And I'm actually going to talk about it. So league format, really, we're talking about 2 leagues. We're talking about a regional league and a state league. And I'm going to break down what each of these are. So the regional league is going to allow any player on a team to compete in their area. And what that really means is it's pretty much time zone based, because games are played at 4 p.m. local time. So a Michigan regional league team could be playing against Michigan, or they could be playing against Indiana, or they could be playing against New York, anybody in Eastern time. This format allows for unlimited teams per esport. So this is a great way to get kids interested who maybe haven't played esports before. They want to form a team with their friends. Regional league is the way to go. Shorter season, no postseason or championship. So we're looking at a less of a time commitment, but it's a really great entry point. Now, if we compare that to the state league and the work that the MASSP has put so much effort into, this is what we're doing. This is why we're here. The state league is Michigan schools only. This is your state league from Michigan. It is 1 varsity team per esport per school. It's going to be your all-star hero players who are going to go head-to-head every week for the entirety of the season to compete for that state title. The full regular season still applies, but there will also be a single elimination bracket in the postseason to work towards that state title. So this is really the distinction. I want to use this opportunity to talk about pricing, because I'm sure there are questions around pricing. The pricing for the Ignite plan that you see on the website is going to be $10.24. And what that gives you is 16 seats per academic year. Now, that includes all of the titles, and it includes access to both of these leagues. So you can compete in the regional league only, or you can join the state league if your state supports one, as we do in Michigan. That's going to cover everything, all the titles, as well as that yellow question mark marked dice that I mentioned earlier that could or could not be a title that we announced. So really just want to drive that home. 16 seats at $64 per player gets you the $10.24 for the entire academic year. If you don't have the capacity at your school to have 16 players committed, we can work with you to get you in with a slightly lower seat count. But that would be something I would want to talk with you on a consultation about. So definitely make a note at the end of this to follow up. And I'll include some contact info when we talk about enrollment. But that's the league format. And I really just want to take a second to thank Maggie and Matt for all of their work on getting this state league up and running so that Michigan can represent on esports across PlayVS. So really hats off to them. I know we're about 3 minutes, so I want to run through a last couple of points here, and then we'll talk about enrollment. So scholarship opportunities in esports. We're really excited to announce this, $600,000 in scholarships to high school teens this year. This is an opportunity to keep kids engaged during COVID when other activities may be put on hold or reduced, but it's also an opportunity to earn money for scholarships. This is really something that we're excited to announce. This is really a strong opportunity for your students. So happy to talk more about that on a consultation. But let's talk about enrollment for our last 2 minutes, and then I'll open it up to any questions that we have live. So really, enrollment is pretty straightforward. You can sign up on the website. So visit playversus.com and sign up. Click Get Started on the upper right. You can email me directly and say, hey, I was on the webinar. I want to know more. Can we set up a time? Answer is yes. or you can visit our state page. So we're really happy to have a state page available for Michigan schools only that talks about everything we talked about here today. There's also a button that you can schedule a consultation directly from that page. So bookmark playversus.com/Michigan, and you can check out everything that we talked about here today. That is my last slide. I really just want to take a minute to say thank you to everybody on the call today, on my team, and especially to Matt and Maggie for getting this state league built, and for everybody here today who came to learn more. So with that, I'm going to use the last amount of time here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're just going to hop back over here and see if there's any live questions. For the questions that came in through the chat, and apologies, I didn't see them because I was presenting. What I will do is I will get the chat transcript and I'll just reach out to you directly. But if there are any live questions today, please feel free to speak up.
And a couple quick things before we close out. And when you're trying to condense what esports can look like in your building and for your students, I know 30 minutes is a very quick snapshot that we try to get some information across on what the setup is working with PlayVS. One of the things that we're going to release is obviously this webinar, the video, the slide deck, information on how to contact Mondoux and his team for more questions. But one of the great things about this relationship is being able to work with PlayVS and having that tech support and the scheduling, the coaches program and the mentoring program. So even brand new people, if you've never been in charge, you've never been involved in the esports realm, they have an entire series of webinars in a certificate program where you can become an active member of this community. You can ask questions, you can lean on one another to start building out your program. What we get to do from our side in the educational realm is we get to start building in some of these curriculum sets. What does digital citizenship look like? What's it look like to be a good sportsmanship? How can we teach your kids about group process, group dynamics, leadership style, communications, all those little pieces that go into it. We're building out these career and college pieces where students can learn more about the entire ecosystem of e-gaming. Obviously, all of your kids are not going to be drafted into the professional realm, and that's okay. It might be graphic design or IT or networking. There are so many facets to esports, which is why this partnership can really mean a lot just for your building culture, for your own initiatives, and for the growth of your individual students. There is a lot here, and I really like this discussion to continue. So if you've sat in this webinar, if there's parts of this that are intriguing, but you have more questions on, if you'd like to learn how to get some of these tech pieces squared away, PlayVS, as well as our website, which we'll share out in the email, has a ton of information to answer all these questions. Plus, you have live support from both MASSP and PlayVS at any time. There's great documentation, but we'd love to have these one-on-one conversations to make sure you feel set up, to make sure you feel prepared, and you can get your students competing in the spring season with dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of other schools across the state, which is really, really exciting. Helping provide, some joy, some competition, while we're all trying to figure out what our new normal looks like as we flip the calendar year to 2021. So I definitely want to thank PlayVS for hosting this webinar today. If more questions come in, we'll stick on this chat for a little bit. But with that said, I'd like to thank our team from PlayVS. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on this webinar today. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season with friends and family.
Thanks so much, Matt. Thanks, everybody.
If we have time, do we want to answer these questions? Sorry, I don't want to, yeah. Mondoux, can you see them now?
Yeah, I'm happy to kind of jump through the chat and see if there was anything that came up. I'm just going to start from the very top. So let's see here. So David Hendrick pointed out that part of Michigan is in the central time zone. So that's a great call out. I just want to reiterate, and I apologize, I maybe said Eastern time applied to the entire state. If you're on the Upper Peninsula, you might be in Central. It's 4 p.m. local time. I'm going to look down here. Billy covered a couple of things here, and it looks like Billy addressed that one. So thank you, Billy. Elizabeth asks, what should a coach be prepared to do to support a team? I don't play video games. However, I want to support a team at my school. I'm worried I might be unqualified. That's a great question. That's something that we really see a lot where I think, just to kind of unpack it a little bit, this is an opportunity for kids to teach their teachers, and they always love to do that. You don't have to be an expert to coach. What you really need to be is a leader that you already are. You need to be the adult in the room to be able to help kids kind of get set up to work through challenges that they might encounter, either in the game or even just on the team in general. The role of the coach is really to be that nexus node, right? To make sure that they connect with everybody on the team and that the team's following the rules. They're also there for administrative stuff, checking report cards. Do the kids have the grades to play? We would hope that they do. And that's what the coach's role really is. But as far as, having not played video games before, everything I hear from coaches is really that you're going to learn a ton on day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and so on and so forth. So great question, Elizabeth. Thank you. And Angie said, thank you for the information. Very helpful. Glad to hear. And again, hopefully, okay, we have one live right now from Rick. Can you talk a little bit more about equipment needed at the school level? So equipment is really going to be for the PC games, so anything from the last couple of years. Our strictest requirement game came out in 2016 as of right now. PlayStation 4 is pretty straightforward. If it's a PlayStation 4 game and a console, it'll work. We do work with a third-party vendor who we can connect you with if you did want to discuss getting IT set up. But with the shift to remote play, oftentimes what I hear from coaches is that the first student who raises their hand to do this already have the game and the machine at home. They're already playing these games, but they want to do it outside their bedroom or outside of their living room by themselves, and they want to do it with their school. So definitely more technical answer would be on the website. We do have some IT guides, but the short answer is as long as the machines are PCs, we don't, unfortunately, the games don't support Chromebooks just because they weren't built that way to run on Chromebooks, but that should be hopefully a clear answer for you. And I think those were all of the live questions. So any other?
Chris, we got one question in the Q&A, and I'll read it out to you, and you can kind of take a stab. Eden says, being from a small private school, I may not be able to form many teams. Thoughts on having only 1, maybe 2 or 3 Rocket League teams? What would be the cost?
Yeah, so great question, and really the answer is the Ignite Pass is going to give you access to as many teams as you want to have for the regional league, and that single team for your varsity state league. Specifically to Rocket League, it is a free title, so you can sign up for free today on playversus.com, and you could have 1 team, you could have 3 teams, you could have really, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong, as many teams as you want. Uncapped, I think probably within reason. You probably can't do 10,000, but I don't know. I haven't seen it. So
we'll support it.
Thanks for calling that out, Billy. And we have a question from Kevin. Can you speak more to a need for 16 students? If we have a group only interested in a couple teams, is that doable? Yeah, great question. And like I mentioned earlier, if you don't want to pay for 16 seats because you just don't have that buy-in from your first season, again, let's hop on a consultation and we'll figure it out. But my gut here is that we can work with you to figure out what's going to work for your budget, as long as it meets basically our minimum. All right. Well, we are 6 minutes over, so apologies for anybody who wasn't able to join for the whole webinar. But again, we did record this, so wanted to make sure that everybody here gets to see everything they need. We're going to send that out, as Matt said. So again, I'll just say thank you so much to MASSP for really carrying this forward for us in Michigan, and we really hope to see you all in our spring season.